Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria Tundu MK Abiola.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, ACF to Southern leaders. Enough of blackmail. North, not afraid of breakup. Yes, not comfortable with the stereotypes and alleged blackmail anymore. A foremost umbrella body for the North. Arewa Consultative Council yesterday reacted to the ongoing controversy and constant bashing of the region over zoning within the two leading political parties. Yes, Arewa Consultative Forum, in that statement signed by the Secretary General of the Forum, Murtala Aliyu, he's saying that the warning that gone were the days when Northerners felt blackmailed and intimidated by threats of restructuring, secession, breakup, or breakdown of Nigeria. Well, it is unfortunate that the politics is coming down to this. But the clamor which many stakeholders believe is reasonable is that after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, the next president should come from the southern part of the country. And I don't think anybody will quarrel with that sentiment. But again, as the Arewa Consultative Forum is saying that they are not opposed, because we must always put that also in context. It's part of this statement, that they are not opposed to any Nigerian from another zone emerging as president. But it has to be done within the ambit of the law and democracy, democratic principles. Yes, that is true. But again, the framers of our Constitution, over time, always insist on spread, so that it doesn't matter the population of a zone. The candidate must have substantial acceptability in all zones of the country. Hence, that clause, to win the presidential election, you must poll at least 25% of the votes in 2/3 of the states of the Federation. But for those who see this as threats, I think it should not be seen as such, because it's a genuine clamor that for inclusiveness, for justice, for equity, and the political parties at the inception of this democracy, most of the people in APC now were also part of the PDP that brought about this zoning, that the presidency should rotate between the North and the South. Not written in any law of the land, but it is a principle that was well taken, given where we were coming from in 1999. Other newspapers are also reporting this story. Let's look at the Nation newspaper. ACF leaders, South should stop issuing threats over zoning. Gone are the days when Northerners felt blackmailed and intimidated by threats of restructuring, secession, break up or breakdown of Nigeria. It's president or nothing, says Ohaneze. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Buhari to Ebonyi. Igbo leaders demand Southeast presidency. Buhari in Ebonyi. Igbo leaders demand Southeast presidency. Kano's release. Igbo apex body rules out VP slot for Southeast. Obi's presidential ambition, non-negotiable. says support group. That's Peter Obi, his support group, making that statement. Talk among yourself, Obieshina urges Southeast aspirants. NUPA, Igbo president will reduce tension in Nigeria. Group urges APC, PDP to zone presidency to Southeast. COSEC threatens to sue APC, PDP if ticket is zoned to the north. Well, the parties are not saying they will zone to the north, but what they want to do is that they will just throw it open. And that is why we're seeing all the dilly-dallying. PDP coming out with its position on zoning. And even APC, that many thought had settled the matter, suddenly Abdullahi Adamu, the chairman of the APC, has come out to say, oh, we have not decided on zoning, when many thought it was a done deal. I haven't zoned the chairmanship of the party to the north. Well, the leadership newspaper, Leadership Friday, also on the same story, 2023 as zoning agitation rages. Igbo leaders warn Southeast aspirants against accepting VP slots. Stop blackmailing, not ACF fires back. Power must shift to the South. Middle Belt insists. Nothing wrong with deluge of aspirants. Lawyers Oshibajo Amechi Bakare Namani pick nomination formed. While just below that, INEC is insisting June 3 deadline for primaries is sacrosanct. INEC tells parties, yes, for those party members and parties trying to get INEC to extend the date. INEC is saying that date is sacrosanct and there will be no shift. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper won't succumb to blackmail. Arewa wants the lead story. Now, above the masthead, power. Federal government approved tariff increase for 6 discos. Well, it's like this increase, we'll just live with it, because I'm aware that as recent as December, Keja Electric increased its tariff. And those of us who live in that zone will know better. For those who don't have prepaid meter, in fact, they've been paying through their nose, seeing all kinds of obnoxious, outrageous billing. For now, another approval from the federal government. Well, let's look at the Punch newspaper. 2023 consensus plan on settles APC. Protesters warn against imposition. Aspirants number hit 30. 12 peak forms. Amosu unfolds 6-point agenda. Pro-Tinubu group warns National Working Committee. VP supporters target ticket via consensus. Zoning. You have no monopoly of threat. ACF replies, Southerners Akeredolu. And the story below the photograph. Front page of the Punch newspaper. Federal government take over Ebonyi Medical Sciences Varsity, says Buhari. Well, this must be one of the gains of Dave Umai leaving the PDP for the APC. Yes, he's a very good friend of the president, even when he was with the PDP. And the president is in Ebonyi State commissioning projects and, of course, heaping praises on Dave Umai. But is that any indication that the president will support Dave Umai's presidential ambition? Well, we'll see. Now, 2023, this Daily Sun newspaper, 2023 presidency, anxiety in APC, PDP as aspirants await final word on zoning. Ruling opposition parties silence unsettled members. Each party is waiting to see how the other will handle the issue of zoning. Of course, that is why the APC has suddenly come out to say zoning not settled. The Vanguard newspaper, APC presidency, Tinubu Oshibajo groups differ over Southwest meeting. It will place region advantage position. Bola Ahmed Tinubu organization, DG. Wrong move Wrong motive, wrong move. Progressive lawyers for Osinbajo. Well, both parties speaking, both aspirants speaking through proxies, as it were. But that meeting, many believe that the conveners of the meeting are known supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while the venue itself, Lagos Government House, it also looks like a compromised venue for those in the Osinbajo camp. But what will come out of that meeting? Will there be a communique? Will the communique be asking all to support one aspirant? Who will that be? Because if it's about pruning numbers, then who is going to drop out for the other? I think even the conveners of that meeting should know that they have a tough job on their hands. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, Ansaru in massive recruitment in Kaduna, distributes Salah gifts. Explains mission in leaflets. They are our saviors from bandit locals. We have reported to relevant authorities, Kaduna government, where when the state fail in its primary duty of securing lives and property, of course, non-state actors will look for a way to fill in. And if the citizens feel secure with the moves by these non-state actors, of course, they will say so. But again, the security agents have been alerted about this recruitment by the Ansaru movement. Now, the Business Day newspaper, tax rules trail growing shift to remote work. Yes, countries, including Nigeria, are grappling with emerging tax issues as remote work is gaining momentum, fueling tax evasion by many workers. Yes, you sit down in your home and make your naira or you make your dollar, and the taxman is not aware how to resolve these issues, remote working and tax problems. In a country like Nigeria, where we are trying to bring more people into the tax net, so that the few of us who pay as an obligation are not the only ones carrying the tax burden. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Daily Telegraph, Falklands vets call for Exocet answers. Lord Tebbat gives backings to the demand for inquiry into the missile that sunk the HMS Sheffield. That's during this Falkland War. Now, the Times of London slash taxes to stave off recession. Sunak urged, yes, cabinet ministers are demanding action as Bank of England, excuse me, as Bank of England raises rates to 1%. Yes, Rishi Sunak is under pressure from his cabinet colleagues to implement radical tax cuts after the Bank of England warned that the economy of England could tip into recession next year. While the New York Times is reporting the leak, yes, the leak at the Supreme Court. The leak intensifies view that court is too political. One's allies, robots, and a little embody growing divide. A concern that the law isn't justice's primary guide in this matter. Now, Ruben, Rufai, and Tundu.
Okay, I wanted to... Oh, Tundu, please
go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Well, I just want to say something about this story. And this day, the Arawa Consultative Forum's hysterical little hissy fit. And the only thing that really comes to mind is that novelist and activist James Baldwin, when he said, when you're entitled to privilege, equality seems like oppression. Nobody is arguing in any way that the South is superior or whatever to the North. It's just about fairness. And this is the completely overboard reaction, complete hysteria. They need to calm down and sort of channel this kind of aggression, this kind of anger towards societal ills that plague us all, towards terrorism, not this utter rot that is contained in this statement.
Well, I would, add to it and say that the position that has been taken by the Arewa Consultative Forum. This was more or less the same position that was taken by this conference of northern leaders earlier in the year, when, you know, they issued a statement saying Southerners should stop blackmailing the North. So
they were reacting to
the
Southern governor's position there.
Yes, there seems to be a consensus. And now, you know, they're still reacting to the Southern governor's position. You'll recall that Governor Akeredolu, the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, spoke only a few days ago. Yesterday, there was a meeting, we were told, of the Imobi Ohaneze Ndigbo, also about the issue of, you know, Southeast presidency. Today, APC presidential aspirants from the Southwest are also meeting. So, and you've had certain persons from the Southwest say, look, this thing cannot go to the North. There's also this, conspiracy position out there that, look, it seems that the two major political parties have taken a position to zone the presidency to the North. And speculations also that certain persons have been asked to step down just to allow the North. So this is what, you know, northern stakeholders are reacting to. And they are saying, don't blackmail us. We will follow democratic principles. But the question is this. All the parties involved, whether from the North or from the South, they have to moderate their rhetoric. At the end of the day, this is all about Nigeria and the survival of Nigeria. If there are issues about, okay, proximity to power, negotiation of power, those are issues that can be resolved through dialogue. But this war tone, this war stance that certain groups are adopting, but it's on both sides. It's not just the Northerners that are guilty. Because if you look at the tone of the statements, the other day, the Igbo Elders Forum, they were threatening, led by Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezefe, that any Igbo man that agrees to be deputy president to a Northerner will be cursed from generation to generation. I don't know how raining curses on people has become part of politics. And now you have the Arewa Consultative Forum saying that, look, they have 78% of land in Nigeria. They have more population than Southerners. So who are these Southerners who want to be president? And they are also claiming that we have had 22 years of democratic rule since 1999, and that out of this, Northerners have only spent 10 years. And in other words,
Nigeria has been in existence for over 60 years.
In other words, they are combining 8 years of President Buhari and the 2 or 3 or 2.5 years of President Umaru Yar'Adua. They have forgotten that there was a time in this country when power was completely northernized, you know, since after the Civil War. But we don't need to go into those details. Nigeria needs leadership. Nigeria needs a situation whereby we have an enlightened elite that wants to keep this country together, even as we resolve matters of difference. Now, some people seem to have been joking around in the papers.
No, if I may just chip in something, we also need to address. Yeah. Now, politics is also about negotiation. Shouldn't Ohaneze, led by the highly intellectual, highly revered Professor Biozo, be also leading a delegation, perhaps to Kaduna, to meet with the Arewa Consultative Forum and discuss this matter?
Yes.
A handshake across the Niger. This dialogue has been there for a very long time.
No, it should continue.
We can only say, yes, it should continue, but we call for caution. All these warmongers, if they cause the problem now with their dangerous rhetoric, they will be the first to run away to London, to Dubai. They will not be around. It's ordinary people that will suffer.
And I'm sorry, respectfully, the statement by the Igbo Elders Forum, which was too strongly worded, was directed at their fellow Igbos. This is not how you speak to half of your country. Talking down to Southerners from the North, it is completely unacceptable.
And most of them have other passports. So Nigerians, please don't listen to them or don't be deceived. Though. Most of them have more than one passport. They will run to Britain, and when they cause the war, it will be people here that are already suffering because of the failure of government that will continue to suffer. Nigeria doesn't need war now. It shouldn't even cause war. It is just fairness. And the fairness is power should go to the southeast. It's a rotational thing. In 2019, there was no brouhaha about where power was going to go because a lot of people still thought, and they thought that it was the time of the North. There was no brouhaha in 2019.
No, 2015. Let's even go back to 2015. the major clamor then was that, oh, Jonathan was taking their turn.
They let them have it.
Hence, many of those PDP governors in the north, you know who they work for.
We also Ike Clark here now. There's PDP governors even donated money to the APC. We saw Ike Clark say that. So we know who they work for, how they sabotage Goodluck Jonathan. And a lot of people felt, oh, it's the North Stone. They should have it. And everybody all believed it was true. You know, because when you look at the things that happened around the Masa Aradua's death, okay, they've not completed their tenure. 2019 too, nobody even argued. You had even 2 candidates from the North in the 2 top political parties. So why is it now that when it's the time for equity and fairness, we start hearing surgery rhetorics everywhere? Please don't come and say things that will divide Nigeria. Cool heads must prevail. To all the parties and everything. Because we should remember that Nigeria is bigger than all of us talking. And when we are old and we are long gone, Nigeria will be after us. Let's remember that, please.
Well, 2 more things, if any, because I was going to go to another subject. There's a story on page 5 of this Daily Trust. Passengers to provide NIN as Abuja-Kaduna train service resumes soon. 2 big jokes there. The first is that we're told that the repair of the Kaduna-Abuja train railway track, has been completed, and that passenger service will resume very soon. Which passenger service do they want to resume? With over 160 persons still in the custody of the terrorists. What concrete effort has government made at all levels to make sure those persons are rescued? Who is going to board the Kaduna-Abuja train? What is more important, human lives or the revenue that government will get from normalizing operations on the Abuja-Kaduna train? These are, in my view, questions that should be raised. The second thing is this NIN, which is the biggest joke. A directive was given that people whose national identification numbers have not been validated or linked with their SIM cards should be barred from making phone calls. That has been the most chaotic thing that has happened in recent times. People who have valid identification numbers, they can't make use of their phones, right? So that, I think, should come first. Rather than Nigerian Railway saying that for you to board a train, you must produce NIN. The way they are going to even get hospital services, to even buy groceries in supermarkets, we may have to be going about with NIN.
Ruben,
how ridiculous
but who
that
says
can
that
get.
These terrorists don't have NIN number?
Well, no, they are even talking about passengers. You must use NIN.
No, what I'm saying is that these terrorists, because it's...
They probably have.
Yes.
And then finally, they want to increase electricity tariff.
Yes.
Telecom companies also want to increase tariffs for SMS, for data, for calls, so that we will now be paying 56 naira per minute to make a phone call, and something higher than that to send a text message. Okay, the National Communications Commission is saying it will not grant approval. They should not grant that approval. If there are issues at stake, they should look at those issues and see how the telcos can be helped. Electricity will go up, telephone calls will go up. I was talking about deep-rooted cost of living crisis in the UK. I didn't even know that it's worse here. No, it's worse here.
It's already worse. And we don't even know what's even happening to airfare. We hear that aviation fuel too has increased from the normal 500 to 600 and something. So before you know it now, it's not confirmed though. Before people quote me, it's not confirmed though. Aviation operators too will start crying and saying
but they have already issued a statement
that they are going to.
That some of them are going to shut down.
Okay.
So you can't fly, you can't make phone calls,
you can't do anything.
Live in darkness.
Nobody's saying
what's
anything.
going on? Why don't you go and get 100 million and come and
please, Ruben, I think these are the questions we should be asking this. All these
look for 100 million.
No, it's not the 100 million. Let's be asking them all these questions. How do you want to solve this problem? We don't hear them talk about this.
And please,
they just banded their 100 million and think we can buy the presidency.
And I just want to say this. I think the Nigerian Railway Corporation has been very, very unsympathetic to the plight of people. Anyway. Because they didn't issue any messages all this while as regards the update of the welfare of the people. Now, because they want to return, they issued one message yesterday. Things are not done that way.
They want to collect NIN too.
Okay.
Everybody is collecting NIN. Anyway, Feni, thank you very much. Don't mind.